And welcome back. We are going to continue our work with Adobe Animate. If you remember last time, we started off by working with a kind of classic tween where we just had our star kind of move along the screen, and we even made it so we can have it move along a path. Today, though, we're going to look at a shape tween. So let's go ahead and jump right in. We're going to use our HD preset again. And once we are in there, let's go ahead and navigate on over to where our rectangle tool is, and let's use our polystar tool again to go ahead and create ourselves a star. And what I want to do is take this object here and make it so that way it's going to run over a course of, let's say, 2 seconds here. So we're going to make a little bit longer animation. So here's our 2 seconds at 60 frames. And all I'm going to do is just right click and I'm going to insert a keyframe. And then I'm going to go back to frame 1, right click, and I'm going to create a shape tween now. And you can see now we have this line that moves across this time frame here. Nothing, of course, is happening right now because I haven't told this shape to do anything. So if we go to our 2-second interval, I'm going to switch to my selection tool, select my entire shape here, and I'm just going to drag that across the screen. And so now, right now, if I were to run that, you can see it's going to traverse from left to right across that screen, which is not much different than when we had, for example, our classic tween. But where we can change this is when we can start coming in and doing different settings. So for example, if I were to click on my shape, right now we have a blue fill. Maybe I say, you know what, I want that to change into, let's say, a different color. Maybe I want it to be green. So I could pick on green, for example. And one of the things you'll notice that happens is as I play that animation, it automatically is going to transition that from the blue into the green. Now this is not the only thing that can happen because this is its own keyframe. I could actually come right in here, delete the star entirely, and I can go ahead and change that into a different shape. So let's go ahead and make a rectangle here. I'm going to keep the green for now, and let's just go ahead and draw a green rectangle. And if I go ahead and play that animation, you will see that it will morph that star into the green rectangle. And that's pretty much all you really need to know for the basics of a shape tween. Now there are more advanced things that we can get into where you can actually add in helper handles to help you give more fine control over your shape. Now the way we would have exerting more control is if we had multiple keyframes here. We could of course go in here to modify shape, and there's an option that would add in here called add shape. And I'm just going to show that real quick. Just add in one more second here by inserting another keyframe. And I'm just going to take this same shape here, and I just want to have that shape now. Let's just go ahead and at this time frame, instead of being this square, I'm going to go ahead and change it to an oval, and let's change the fill color to more of a red. And I'm just going to have it appear right here. All right, so now if I were to play my animation, you can see that we have that shape that has moved down here because we didn't apply that shape tween yet. So let's go ahead and make sure we apply that new shape tween. And so now when we run our animation, we actually have 2 different animations that are played back to back. And because we have 2 different keyframes in here now, we have the ability to come in here and what's called adding shape hints. So if I wanted, for example, a more fine control, for example, from my star going into my rectangle, I can go ahead and modify those shape hints. And what that will do, if you notice there's like a little letter right here, I can take and I can drag these points around to say, hey, this is point A, and I want to make sure that that point, when I get to here of my frame, that I want that point to morph so that way it is now this point right here. And what that does is give you a lot more fine control over your shape. So when we watch that, that point will always end up in that corner. And it's just a thing that we can use to help give us more fine control over what we're using in our shape tween. Now, of course, you can always play around with these to modify them. And like I said, I use just that one shape hint, but if I wanted to add more back to that original shape, all I would have to do is just go into modify and add shape hint, and I can add that in there. Now, if I want to remove the shape hints, you do notice there is an option to remove all hints, which of course will allow us to default it back to its original path. So if I don't want that on there, I can just go to shape, remove all hints, and it will take that off there. But that is a real quick overview of the Shape Tween. And there is one more tween that we have yet to look at, which is the Motion Tween. And we're actually going to take 2 lessons to kind of look at that in a little bit more detail, because there's a lot of things that we can dive in with the Shape or with the Motion Tween versus the Classic and Shape Tween.